We are back. Game week is upon us again. And that means Wednesday night, we go behind enemy lines, and we are doing that next with a Chargers content creator. Stick tight. All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. And as I said, behind enemy lines, we got a Chargers content creator here. He goes by Lou, but I'm going to call him Sweet Lou because I heard that's what they called him back in the day at his frat. Sweet Lou, my guy. How you been?
Jesse, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for having me on today.
Dude, it's been a while. You guys came on.
Been
Let's
a
see.
hot minute.
I was doing the Tuesday show where I was trying to shed light on other content creators. You guys came on. Gosh, it's probably been 10 months ish or so. But you guys have been on the show before. You've been on the show before. You and your
I think
podcast partner.
My famous contribution to your show was saying that at that time Jimmy Garoppolo is a fantastic backup quarterback. I don't think Niner fans probably took it too lightly there that I said that.
Yeah, no, we Well, you know, he ended up being a fantastic backup quarterback. Definitely some foreshadowing on your part, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, we were talking a little bit backstage, and I'll tell you what, man, when it comes to your Chargers, I was big on them this year. In fact, last year, before they went out and had this great offseason and brought in all these guys, I actually said last year was the final year that the Chiefs would run that division, and it would be the Chargers for years to come. Herbert was on the rise. I thought the team was on the rise. You all are the only team that is more injured than the 49ers year in and year out. I don't understand it. It sucks for you guys, and we're going to talk through it. But overall, when the season started, I had you guys and the Bills as like the two favorite teams coming out of the AFC. I don't know what you had the Chargers outlook as, but has the season gone as planned according to what you thought was going to happen?
All right, so I'm gonna educate your listeners to like the thought process of Chargers fans. There's two types of Charger fans. The first Charger fans are the sun's always shining. There's always rainbows, things of that nature, right? And then you have people like myself, more realistic. My mom calls pessimists, but that's where I fall under, and that's where I lay under. And this year probably was the first time I've had hope with the Chargers to be legit contenders since probably like the 2008, 2009 season, right? So I thought, the Chargers were destined to be greatness. And I agree. I thought the Chargers were going to take over the Chiefs this year. All that being said, if I was looking at the pre-schedule, like before, when it just came out, I probably would have the Chargers 6-2 right now, but they're 5-3. But you have to kind of give them some credit. They are 5-3 with, you alluded to before, with all the injuries they had. They are the most injured team in the NFL this year. And we're not just talking about role players or specialized players. You're talking about Rashawn Slater, Pro Bowler, Joey Bosa, Pro Bowler, J.C. Jackson, Pro Bowler. These are heavy hitters, man. We've lost Corey Linsley for numerous games. But all that being said, I would say this isn't how the season I imagined, to be honest with you, after especially coming off of such a healthy season from last year. But it could be worse, I guess. At 5-3, we're still in contention. We just got to get through these next two games and hopefully get some reinforcements back.
Okay, so who's coming back and what is the timeline for some of these guys?
The whole joke when it comes to these people is everyone's day to day. So Keenan Allen's been day to day since week 2. Joey Bosa, realistically, I'm going to say probably after the Cardinals game. So that's like 3-4 weeks now. So yeah, he probably missed like 10 weeks. Rashawn Slater, I don't see how he comes back. They were flirting with the idea towards the end of the season, but I don't think it's an absolute necessity, being that we have Jamari Salyer, left tackle from Georgia. He's a rookie, and he's kind of held his own, shockingly. He was a 6th-round pick. So J.C. Jackson, obviously not this year, but yeah, outside of those guys, I don't think for a couple of weeks. Keenan Allen, they say day to day, but that guy still didn't practice this,
What about
today.
Williams? He's out now too, right?
He probably won't be around for another 2, 3 more weeks.
Is Lindsley back?
Lindsley is back, but
Okay.
he's been battling through like a knee injury this whole
Okay.
season.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, you guys are banged up, man. We've gone through it. You guys have gone through it. It's been rough. Luckily for you guys, there it does sound like a lot of players are coming back. If you can just hold the fort for a couple weeks, it sounds like you might be okay. It's funny because you say that who was it? Keenan Allen's been day to day since week 2. D Ford's been week to week since 2019. So we feel your pain over here in San Francisco.
That's right.
Oh gosh, yeah. Actually, there's a really good question in here. A really good comment, I should say. Here we go. Lions Mania says, "I have questions about your head coach. Definitely cost you a few games. What do you think about your head coach? What are your thoughts, or what are what are your thoughts, and what is the consensus in I don't know Bolt Nation, whatever you guys. I don't know what you guys are over there.
If this was last year, I would say I am drinking the Brandon Staley Kool-Aid, right? However, I feel like he's reverted this year. He's actually regress as opposed to progress. And the reason why I said that is because no more fourth and Staley anymore. He's not as aggressive. If you look from an analytical standpoint, they don't go for as much as they used to. Now you can say, listen, the team is made up differently. You don't the defense a little more stout, right? So you don't have to be as aggressive. But still, I think that was what made him unique. Was the identity of the team. I feel like that the team doesn't have identity. So this year, I'm I don't know. I actually have more questions than answers. If you look at the past couple of games, a good head coach, right? I know he's going through injury. So here I am. I just rattled off a bunch of guys, right? That has been injured, that have been Pro Bowlers, right? And they're 5-3. That's pretty impressive. So if you just look from a record standpoint, yes, but good head coaches don't get blown out as frequently as he does. They've thrown some stinkers, and against the Seahawks, a couple times last year against the Patriots, the Ravens. So like my thought process is, if this guy is good, why aren't they more competitive in some of these games? So I'm not I don't know how much you follow this, but I might be on the Sean Payton train. This guy's legitimately like throwing out like vibes out there and flirting with the idea, that he wants to come to Los Angeles with the Chargers. He lives in LA. He was talking about how amazing Los Angeles is. For the last 3 weeks in a row, he's been literally talking about how dissecting just Charger games, and I just find that interesting. He just brings them up in random podcasts and shows. So I feel like he's trying to throw vibes out there.
I wonder. I wonder what the possibility. No, because Breeze is doing TV, isn't he? Drew Brees. He's got a TV gig
I thought
somewhere,
he
doesn't
did it.
he?
I thought it was a 1 year. It didn't work out, and like it
Oh
kind of
yeah. Okay. Yeah, you might be right.
yeah.
Okay, Breeze was around for the joint practices with the 49ers and the Chargers
Mm-hmm.
last year, I think.
Yep.
And so if that is the case, I wonder what the likelihood is that they would bring in Breeze as like a quarterback coach.
That would be interesting. I don't see it happening. The Chargers are fairly mediocre, not mediocre, but I'm going to say vanilla type of organization when it comes to risk, right? So they would first and foremost would have to give up a draft pick to get Sean Payton, because I believe he's still under contract with the
Yeah,
Saints.
he is.
Don't
Yeah.
see them having the balls doing that, to be
Mm.
frank. And secondly, Sean Payton is the type of coach. He's established. He's going to want some control. That's another thing I don't see the front office wanting to give up, is control to Sean Payton. So I don't really see this happening. It's a dream,
I'll,
pipe
I'll
dream.
throw another name out for you. So everybody's on the Dorsey train. That one's an obvious one. But my boy Marco, shout out to Marco, we were talking about what the 49ers would do. Like if they moved on from Shanahan, like what are the options? And so obviously Dorsey always comes up. Peyton's another one. Mike Kafka, the offensive coordinator for the Giants, he was a quarterback in the league. He was the quarterback coach and quality control coach for the Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes was being groomed. And now he's the offensive coordinator for the Giants. That's another name you might want to consider looking at. Also, if you go defensive, D'Amico Ryans, he's going to be a hell of a candidate. We would hate to lose him, but That's another guy that might be out there. So you guys would have options. I wouldn't be sure if you guys don't make the playoffs this year. I think you guys are moving on. That's me personally.
Yeah, I think they what they do is probably try to save face and get rid of a coordinator or two just to try to switch things up. I can
That'd
tell
be a
you
bummer.
they're very vanilla.
All right, all right. Well, Tanya becomes a new member. Tanya, thank you so much. Love you. And Keith says, "Hey Nails, love you too." Says, "Chill on Keenan Allen. He's hometown. Go
I love
Greensboro, North Carolina."
Hey, I love me some 13. I'm just saying, it's just unfortunate. I want to see him on the field. Just want to see him more.
Oh, here we go. Austin says, "Hey guys, quick question. Herbert hasn't had good accuracy outside of the numbers. Do you think that's directly due to personnel or something else?" Well, you could probably talk to this more often or more than I could.
Yeah, so two things. There was a knock at him when he was with Oregon. So people were starting to think that, like, is he reverting back to his Oregon days? I think it's twofold. He still's banged up with that rib. I'm not sure if you listen to Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner had something similar, and it literally took him 6 months to heal. So I feel like it has affected his ability, to throw the football. In addition, the whole Joe Lombardi offense is literally kind of like a 22-year-old person playing Madden. You just pick that favorite play over and over again because that's the only play you know and comfortable with. It sticks, right? Just go to the sticks, turn around. There's no creativity, and when you have people that can't, when you have receivers that can't generate separation, I feel like he's trying to force it in, and then cornerbacks are just sitting on it. So I think he's just seeing if his players can make a play. But I just I don't. I just think it's between the rib injury and also the play design and calling. I think that's what's attributed to it.
Well, I'll say this. I'm an Oregon Duck fan. I've got text message proof that a few games into his sophomore year, I said Herbert was going to be the real deal in the NFL, an elite quarterback. So I know what Herbert brings. I've known what Herbert brings. Herbert can make every single throw. I tend to agree with you that there's probably a little bit of an injury, and that personnel is absolutely wrecked right now. He has nobody to throw the ball to. They can't get separation, which has brought his depth of target way, way down. He is not pushing the ball down the field at all because he has nobody to push the ball down the field to. One thing that I have to give him credit for is even though he's thrown into tighter windows, he has adapted his game to be more of a game manager, and his turnover worthy plays is extremely low. It's like around, I just talked about it with Grant. It's like 1.6%, really, really low. He's protecting the football at the very least and not putting it at all in harm's way, which, if you have a game manager type of player right now, then that's what you would prefer him to do. So he's gone from being that, throwing big passes down the field, taking risks because his arm can get away with it, to, all right, well, I don't have the players around me. Now I got to protect the football. And he's done a great job of doing that. So,
Yeah.
He can adapt to any type of game that's available. Ed Stack says, "I'll be in San Francisco for the LA game." Nice, man. Have a lot of fun. In your opinions, how effective do you feel Austin Eckler can be against us, and why? I will answer this from the 49er perspective. I think he can be very effective. Without Armstead, the 49ers are not the same run defense. Eckler is great at catching the ball as well. I mean, he's an absolute weapon. And right now, he might be the only weapon that they have. So I got to imagine he's going to get a ton of burn one way or another. If he's on your fantasy team, you got to feel good about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally think Eckler will be effective, but from a standpoint, I don't know if he'll be efficient. He'll get a lot of touches, and I don't know if his yards per carry, yards per catch will be up there. Because listen, a couple of weeks ago, I saw your defense, and I'm like, wow, you guys are going to murder the Chargers just how fast you fly because you have fantastic linebackers that can cover him. So I still think he'll get his numbers, but just not efficiently.
Let's see. Oh, Mike Hawk. He's a great coach, man.
Yeah.
He's a good one. Dang, man. Yeah, like out of all the ones, that's the one. Like it's the most obvious joke right there. That's the most obvious one. I'm just saying. All right. I appreciate your contribution, though, Adam. All right, let's get back to our topics at hand. Okay. I always like to ask this because as 49er fans, obviously we pay attention to a little bit of things going around the league, but we're mainly focused on the 49ers. So if there was a player that you could give us that is either going to be a guy that we should keep an eye on this game, or a guy that in the future we should just keep our ears and eyes peeled as to a guy that we may not know now, but a guy that you think could be a good player in this league, who would that player be?
All right, so I'm going to say I'm not sure how familiar you might be with him, but Drew Tranquil. Drew Tranquil was a strong safety out of Notre Dame. He got converted to a inside linebacker with the Chargers, right? Some things they've been using Tranquil. He always flashed, but the issue with Tranquil is this: can he stay on the field, right? So he has been able to stay on the field this year, and some of the things he's providing to them, they're using him as an effective and efficient blitzer. So he's gone to the quarterback 3 times this year. He actually succeeds in also deep drops and zone coverage, which I think is going to be imperative, especially over the middle, because you guys do like to attack the middle, if I'm not mistaken. That's always been a flaw in the Brandon Staley led defense, right? If you can get that middle of that defense, so he can patrol the middle. That being said, where he does falter, like I say, he's a converted safety. So how much power does he have to stack and shed when it comes to your offensive lineman running downhill? He can get left to right too, but he does have also a tendency to miss tackles. But he does show up and make some splash plays this year. So I'm going to say, watch out for Drew Tranquil. I wouldn't be surprised if he applies some pressure and gets a sack on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay, I like it. I like that. I do know who Drew Tranquil is, and I haven't watched a lot of him, so I don't know how good he's been playing, but it sounds like he's definitely playing some good football. Cowboy Angel says, #1 rushing defense right now, and he yells it. I understand that. I think those numbers might be skewed a little bit, and here's the reason why I say that. First of all, the 49ers have had a bye week. Usually they go off of total yards. That's how they decide those types of things, whether it's offense, defense, whatever. It's not like based off of points or DVOA or any of that. So they've had a bye week. A lot of teams haven't. The other thing is this: the weeks that Armstead's been out, they really haven't played good rushing teams. The Rams, they can't run the ball on anybody. The Chiefs don't commit to running the ball on anybody. Although they did gash the 49ers a few times, they could have ran the ball. Atlanta did run the ball. They're a running team. They certainly had no issue running the ball. So we'll see. Listen, with Armstead out, in a really good center like Lindsley, I could see a scenario where they control the center of that line of scrimmage and make things shake. But we'll see. Austin tends to agree with me, by the way. Matthew says Joshua Palmer has the stuff. He needs 10 targets. Yeah, what do you think about Palmer?
Okay. If I'm being frank, like I said, I'm a realistic, Chargers enthusiast here. Didn't like the selection when they drafted him, right? Here's the thing. They were trying to force him to be to replace the Keenan Allen's production and role. He's more comfortable and natural when he tries to play in the Mike Williams role. So notice how last week, the first time this year, they filled him in the Mike Williams role, and guess what? He has a game. So I'm really interested to see how he's going to be looking week in and week out, replacing Mike Williams' role, because he's more of a natural. That's his more of a natural position. So I think it's TBD with him, to be honest with you.
Is Parham going to play?
I think Parham should retire, man. I don't mean that in a negative way. Yeah. Like, this is like, he had that scary concussion last year. Yeah. He had another concussion this year, right? And it wasn't anything like he just caught the ball and kind of just, went down and just like hit his head. So I don't know how stable is it up there? And also, he hurt his hamstring earlier this year and hurt the same hamstring again. I think he's ideal. Like, you would think he's like, in theory, would be such a fantastic player for them. But I don't know if he can stay on the field, nor should he play. But I mean, that's just my opinion. But no, he's not going to be playing.
Yeah, that's rough. That's really, really rough, because I think he'd be a pretty good player, man. Or he is a good player when he's on the field.
If you had him and Everett together, that can cause some mismatch and nightmare, especially down the red zone too, because they're big and they have different skill sets. So
yeah, Everett's good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, Everett's good to go.
Okay.
He's had some butterfingers the last 3 weeks though, unfortunately. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Give me the matchup this week that you are most confident in on the Chargers side of things.
all right, so I'm not a homer at all. I personally believe Derwin James is the best safety in the league, and I can't tell you a matchup, like a specific matchup. But if my opinion, if Derwin's on Kittle, Kittle's getting shut down, and I can say that because um, I've seen Derwin shut down Kelsey and Waller 4 times a year. Right. The problem is because of all the injuries along the defensive front, they cannot just have Derwin locked up on Kittle. They're going to have to
Mm,
move him all over the place, and they've been doing a great job. He was an edge rusher last week. He's an inside linebacker. So whoever they have him on, they'll throw him in the slot and the cornerback. So whoever Derwin's on, I'm fairly confident um, he's locking them down because his coverage skills, and he's such a unique individual. He's big enough and strong enough to play. Kittle, who I personally think is the best tight end in the league, right? Uh, but he's also like smooth enough with his hip rotations where he can cover those shifty receivers in the slot. So whoever Derwin James is on, that's my bet. I'm taking Derwin 9 times out of 10.
Mike McGlinchey, our right tackle, came out today and apologized that he was picked with Derwin James on the board. Derwin James is such a G. Now, I will say this years later, definitely sucks missing out on Derwin. Having Hafunga helps. He's
Oh yeah,
definitely, I'm not saying he's a Derwin James, but he's a really good player. He's young and he was much later. So the fact that he has come through a bit, that makes it feel a little bit better. But man, Derwin James is so damn
I,
good, man.
it's
Wish we
just
had Derwin James.
one thing real quick. One of the like best things about Derwin is his ability to tackle, but how he tackles. Someone will be going. It could be anyone. It could be Nick Chubb. You name it. They could be going
Yeah.
full steam ahead. And all of a sudden, as soon as Derwin's hands are so strong, as soon as he gets his hands on someone, boom, they're going down, man.
Yeah, he's so good, man.
Yeah.
He's so damn good. It's ironic that everybody else is hurt and he's the one that's healthy this year. I mean, who would have thunk?
Yeah.
Melissa is talking about the thumbnail. Yeah, you know what? So I went through and I made a thumbnail for every one of these shows before the season started, and I've had to redo a few of them because players were out and whatever. This one I decided to keep. I know that Joey's out, but it was such a cool thumbnail with Nick and Joey. I had to keep it. So I just said, you know what? I'm not going to make a new one this week. I'm going to keep the original because I really enjoyed that one. And it sucks. I really wanted to see Joey and Nick on the field. That would have been
That would have
really,
been
really cool
awesome,
to
man.
see.
Yeah.
Gosh. Luke says, Jesse, what's up, my guy? What's up, my guy? 49ers back in business and excited they will be back and healthier. Just wanted to send some love right back at you. Thank you, Luke. I really appreciate that. Yeah, they are. And that's, we just talked about it. A little unfortunate for the Chargers. We're catching them with a lot of injuries, which is great for the 49ers. 49ers are on the opposite side of that, where they are actually on the mend. Chargers, hopefully soon for your guys' sake. I'm rooting for the Chargers to be good. So,
Just after
all
this
right.
week, though, right?
Yeah, not this week. No,
Yeah,
no,
that's
definitely not this week. But I'm a Herbert guy. Self-admittedly, again, Herbert stan because I did pick him so early on in the process to be elite, an Oregon Duck guy. I really, really root for Justin Herbert. Okay, matchup that you are most nervous about. If Derwin James is the guy that you're the most confident in, what is the matchup that you are the most nervous about this week?
the turnstable that we'll have at the right tackle position
Hmm.
could be either Storm Norton, or Foster Sorrell. If you don't know Foster Sorrell, you shouldn't feel too bad because I barely know him. He's a practice squad player, and playing the right tackle position against Joey Bosa. Nick Bosa. How much confidence do you think I have in that? It's going to be just like watching that Raiders game last year with the Chargers when Max Crosby just was basically in Herbert's pocket 24/7. That I am utterly petrified on what Nick Bosa is going to do to whoever has tried it out there. Stormin Norton from the XFL or this other guy. It's gonna there's gonna be blood.
Fable says, "Oh, you have a turnstile at right tackle as well."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they do. We're same with us. If I was going to give the matchup, it's if Khalil Mack is over there against Mike McGlinchey, it's not a matchup we want to see very often. We don't want any part of that one. We want
Yeah.
no part of that. So, yeah, we're kind of on the same page with this one. Right tackle is not something we want to see. Melissa says, Jessie, with the quad for Sosa, do you see Jordan Willis rush back? I don't know. I mean, I think it's Drake Jackson time. Like, this is the time. Get him some run. Amenahu's fantastic as well. I don't think they'll rush him back if he's not ready. But if he is ready to go, I mean, there's no reason not to play him. So, and Melissa, yeah, it sounds like Mike Williams is going to be out. Lou says that Mike Williams should be out for this game. So,
Yep.
yeah. And then she also says Lindsley worries me if he's healthy versus our defensive tackles. He's healthy enough. He's a good player. Lindsley's an absolute G. In fact, Lou, you may not know this. I got crushed for this. I still stand by it, by the way. But I said the 49ers, instead of investing all that money in Trent Williams, who's older, they should have signed Lindsley, who's cheaper and younger, also all-pro caliber player at the center position, and then figured it out at left tackle, because they've been kind of playing this game every year where they're putting out a new center and trying to figure things out. And my selling point on that was Trent Williams, who I know is fantastic, also misses a few games every year. And that's a normal thing for him. Well, last year, he missed games at the worst possible time. Luckily, they were able to still make it as far as they were, but he was not right through those playoffs at all. He had some major issues. I think that's a big reason why they were ineffective in the run game. So I don't know. I still stand by it. I love Trent Williams. I think he's the best left tackle in the game. That is not the debate. But Lindsley, if you look at the contract between him and Trent Williams over the next couple of years, is a lot less. Plus, he is much younger and a very, very good player. So I think you guys got to steal in Lindsley. That's me personally.
Yeah, Lindsley's awesome. He's very cerebral, and he brings a lot because here we are. He has a rookie right guard to him, and he brings a lot to the table, just getting the whole offensive line unified.
Yeah, and that's what I think the center does. As good as a left tackle can be, he's not the one calling the shots. It's the center. Everybody listens to the center, and if you've got a smart center who is also very good on top of that, Lindsley fits the bill there. I mean, centers make the rest of the offensive line better because they are the ones usually calling protections and shifts and all those things. So, yeah, you guys got a good player.
And I'm also a firm believer. I might be in the minority that I say this, so I hope it's not such like a hot take, but I think internal pressure is way more catastrophic than outside pressure. You can do things to your edge rushers, chip them, widen them out and what have you, roll out too. What do you do? It's very extremely hard to supply support from internal pressure, and internal pressure coming right after a quarterback, that will frazzle them more than, in my opinion, like I said, than on the edges.
I don't think it's a hot take at all. In fact, I think Tom Brady's the best example of this. When he has struggled most throughout his career, it's not when he's got elite edge rushers coming, because he just steps up in the pocket calmly and keeps his eyes downfield. When he's got that pressure up the middle, that's when he gets so super. And what do you do? I mean, even Lamar Jackson's a good example of this as well, because the teams that do the best at keeping him in the pocket, they actually blitz him. They send 5 rushers, and that's because they're able to control the middle. He doesn't have that middle that he can just escape through. I agree with you. I think that interior pressure is a lot more catastrophic. That is a great take. I don't think it's a hot take at all. And if you have a great center, you can stop some of that. And Bosa's a really good example too. He gets chipped like crazy. He struggles with being chipped. They move him around. And when you have elite pass rushers on the edge, you just kind of either run directly at him or throw directly at him. Like, okay, you're going to get up the field so quick. We're just going to dump it off right behind you and make you pay with screen passes, or we're going to run the ball right in your direction because you're coming deep around the edge. We're just going to fill in that gap with the running play. There are many ways that you can neutralize edge pass rushers, but when you have the Joneses or the Donalds, man, there is nothing you can do about it. There is literally nothing you can do to stop those big boys. So I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
All right, finish this sentence for me. The Chargers win if.
The Chargers win if the Niners get out to a sluggish start after their bye. And let me tell you why. The last 4 games, if you look what's happened in the first quarter with the Los Angeles Chargers, they have succumbed to a 10-point lead, but not 10, a double-digit lead every quarter within the last 4 games. So they're starting behind the 8 ball already. You cannot start behind that early in the game against a defense like the 49ers, because that's exactly when D'Amico Ryans is in his bag and basically sends the dogs after you. You cannot do that. The Chargers have to get out to an early, quick start so that they can hopefully get a lead to halftime. And we all know, Shanahan's record when it comes to second after not leading after halftime. It's to be desired, to be frank. So that's the only chance they're really going to have to win. They really have to come out with some creativity, get out to an early lead, and just hopefully pretty much hang on to it in the second half.
Well, bad news. 49ers are very good in the scripted plays. They're probably going to score on their first drive.
Well,
that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So
it
might get a little rough.
Yeah, no, I know.
might get a little rough.
Jesse, hopefully it's a quick drive though. I don't want them to, eat up the defense the whole first quarter there.
Yeah, that's what they tend to do as well. That's a good point. I do think Aziz I think they both might play. Yeah, Flanagan fouls. Yeah, I get it. Not the best. I agree with you. I expect that at least one of them plays and probably both of them. Shay, you would know. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Chargers lose if.
Chargers lose if they get dominated in the trenches, which is a strong possibility. Extremely nervous about we're going to have Jamari Salyer has been fantastic at filling in for Slater as left tackle, but you guys have a fantastic rotation of that front four, right? Mm-hmm. So he's been holding his own, but you still have to be nervous about him. This guy's a 6th-round pick. But on the other side is that right tackle, right? And that right tackle that we still don't know who is going to be. Is it going to be someone from the practice squad? Is it going to be Storm Norton? And that right side of the offensive line concerns me because even Zion Johnson, who's been really good, but has no support now with a lesser player next to him. So if they get dominated on their offensive line and defensive line too, because their linebackers show the inability to pursue and chase down plays, and they have a real hard time getting off blocks. So if your guys are getting to the second level clean, game's over, man.
Interesting. Okay. What would your game plan be offensively this week with the guys that you have missing, knowing that the 49ers have a good pass rush? What would you do? Like if you were just laying out the game plan of, hey, we got to go out there and we got to do this. Here's how we're going to move the ball down the field consistently. Like what would that look like on your end?
So if the Chargers were 100% healthy, I actually would have I would be pretty confident they win this game. All right. But that's not the case because I just feel like they would be able to stretch the field better and put a lot of pressure on it. I was saying before, you gotta get for me when I was doing our show with my buddy Weston, you gotta get the best guys on the field. So you kind of have to mimic their best guys are one wide receiver in Palmer right now because of injuries and Everett. But running backs, you got to get multiple running backs, use multiple running back schemes. Just copy what the Dallas Cowboys are doing, right? Because that's what they do with Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, all right? Just look at what the Packers have done in the past with Jones and Dillon, right? They have to utilize more two back sets, in my opinion, because that's the best skill set they have. So I would use to incorporate Eckler in the slot more, use a little more motion, something they rarely do, trying to confuse the communication with the 49ers second level there. But that's what some things I would do.
Yeah, I think, some of the things that have been successful against the 49ers the last couple of weeks is just using that short game around the line of scrimmage, what sounds like you guys are going to have to do. The 49ers have this tendency to play off coverage for whatever reason, even though we have man corners. What was that?
Do you play cover 3 still, or do you have incorporate more man now?
So early on in the season, there was a lot of man, a lot of cover six. They still come out in like a cover three shell, but they really were mixing it up. They were throwing in some cover six, some cover four, obviously, and a lot of man as well. Once Mosley went out, they started kind of playing more off coverage, kind of going back into that
Okay.
three shell and running with that. Last week, well, 2 weeks ago when they played the Rams, they started out that way, and the Rams were killing them around line of scrimmage. Then they made the adjustment. They started moving those corners up, pressing a little bit more. They have to continue to do that. We'll see if Verrett plays. Even if he does, it's, he's been out for over a year. I don't expect him to be super effective. But with you guys not having any dominant threats at that receiver position, there's no reason for the 49ers not to come up and play press man. If they don't, though, you guys definitely can own the line of scrimmage as far as just getting the ball out quick, utilizing Eckler, utilizing multiple running backs. That's what I would say would work really well for you guys. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. If the 49ers are smart, they'll just get aggressive on defense and bring everybody up. Yeah, and Stack says no cover three.
Yeah, I feel like the Niners are a team you cannot, if you're going to, your offensive scheme cannot go left to right. You guys are way too fast for that. You have to go straight down the field. And I just don't know how they're going to do that because the receivers right now are basically insurance salesmen that trying to get, they can't get separation from cornerbacks.
Yeah, I'm actually, you know what? I'm low key kind of surprised that you guys are not in on the OBJ thing.
We are vanilla. That's not. That's I'm telling you, I felt like they blew a lot of their load this offseason, and now are a little timid now. Now they're just sitting back. But there was a lot of things I was surprised how they didn't make a move on the trade deadline. Losing our top 4 wide receivers in the season, you think they would get some help? I'm not saying get a Brandon Cooks or anything like that because the contract would probably prohibit them from getting someone like him. But there's other guys like a Marquise Callaway on New Orleans Saints or something that could have provided, some deep threat that wouldn't cost you, too much. So
Kadarius Toney just went to the Chiefs.
They like choir boys, man. Like if you notice
Okay.
who they Rashawn Slater, extremely intelligent, good off the field. Zion Johnson, once exactly the same. They like choir boys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's in division. I think getting Judy would be tough. OBJ, he may be. And this is where I'm going to say I'm on record as a 49er fan of saying I like that they're in on OBJ if it's for this year. Sounds like he wants a multi-year deal, and I don't want any part of that because I don't know what you're getting. He's 30 now. He's got a second torn ACL in the same knee. I'm not willing to give that guy a multi-year deal. I'm just not. But I am willing to take the risk for a 1-year deal. So we'll see what happens. I still think, for me, I would say the Ravens, the Bills, the Cowboys. That's kind of the 3 teams that I would probably pin him on. But we'll see. See how it plays out.
It was stated that he wanted something like the Gallup deal out in Dallas. That's what he was looking for.
I'm not giving it to him.
Yeah, his agent is making the comparison that, hey, Gallup came off an injury too. He's better than Gallup though. That was like what was going around.
Gallup's like 5 years younger than he is too. I'm just saying.
Exactly. No, you're right.
I'm just saying. And I don't think that was Gallup's second ACL, but I could be wrong. Yeah, definitely not. Listen. All right. Let's figure it out. Who's going to win this game? What's the score prediction for the Chargers and the 49ers this week for you, Lou?
Okay. I would say realistically, probably I'm saying 31-17 Niners.
Oh,
yeah. I find I have a difficult time to see how this Chargers team is going to score against such a defense. You keep on saying you're nervous about the interior of your defense, especially with Armstead. Is it definitely he's not playing? I know he has like a fracture.
He's definitely not playing.
It's still though. We haven't been able to generate a lot of movement up front in our running game. So I feel like your linebackers are way too fast and have such fantastic instincts where even if we do generate pressure, they're going to be able to negate that. So I just don't I don't see this really being that much of a contest because of injuries, unfortunately.
Yeah, this was a game prior to the season that I had marked down as a loss for the 49ers. Now, obviously, this is why you wait to make these predictions in full because you don't know what the health's going to look like. You just don't. There's a lot of factors that go into it that you just don't know. I just don't. If the 49ers lose this game, I'm out on the 49ers as far as being legit contenders this year. I'm sorry because this is a game that you have to win. You're the one coming off of a bye. You're the one that's added Christian McCaffrey. You're the one that's gone out and added, a lot of players via quality health coming back. The Chargers they're about as beat them and the Ravens right now are, yeah, it's bad. Between you and the Ravens, it's atrocious. So I don't think the 49ers will be real contenders if they can't figure out a way to win this game. I think they win this game. I think the Chargers might score late to make it look closer than what it is, but I'm going to go 28-20 49ers. But like I said, it may not actually be that close, like a late field goal type thing. Maybe look closer.
And that's funny when I said 31-17. I was thinking them getting a garbage time touchdown with that 17.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Exactly. Shay, I'm pretty sure you had us losing to the Chargers too, if I'm not mistaken.
Before the season started, I mean, I don't think that was such a ridiculous take that you would think that with this high power offense and now a defense that the Chargers would beat the Niners. The Chargers on paper, as always, looked great, in this offseason.
Yeah, well, that's why they play the games.
I know.
Because I also had us beating the Bears. So, what do I know?
That's right, man.
Niner Gang Wolfcast says 31-20.
Yeah.
And then Luke Luna says we have harder teams that we're facing. So yeah, we've got to beat the Chargers off of a bye. We could start slow because of penalties. Yeah, penalties have been kind of one of those things for the 49ers. Last week, they were the disciplined team, or 2 weeks ago, they were the disciplined team, and the Rams completely lost all control. But I feel like there's no way that they should lose this game.
Jessie, I do have to ask you one quick question. Who do you guys play next week? Is it a divisional game by any chance?
Cardinals, yep.
Maybe it's someone like the Rams. I can not possibly see you. This is a trap game for you guys, but the Cardinals don't scare you guys. So I mean, I know in the past, you've lost to them when they're undermanned, but it's not like that. If you had a different type of maybe Seattle or the Rams playing next week, I can see this being a trap game and overlooking them, but not coming off a bye at home. Definitely not take this.
That's the thing. The Cardinals do low key own the 49ers. They beat the heck out of the 49ers for whatever reason. They own that matchup. So I think, gosh, if I'm not mistaken, I know for sure they've won at least 3 out of the last 4. I don't remember if they won them both in 2020. I can't remember. My mind's drawing a blank right now. But yeah, they've low-key owned the 49ers. So that's a matchup that is tough for them. Mobile quarterbacks are also very tough. Kyler Murray, that's a rough matchup. But man, I just if you come out of the bye week, and this is what I said about the Rams too. I said if they lose to the 49ers out of the bye week, they're a bad football team. I'm sorry. Yeah. You have the advantage. You have the advantage coming out of the bye week. And much like the Rams had the health advantage where they were getting people back out of the bye week and the 49ers were still pretty depleted, this is a similar scenario here where the Chargers are depleted. The 49ers are coming out of the bye week. They're getting a lot of people back. I don't see it happening. But if they do, I definitely am questioning the San Francisco 49ers. Shay wants us to end the show. Shay, listen, man. I think you're right. We're going to end the show. You guys have a blessed weekend. And unless there is something worthy for me to put content out on, I will not be doing that. The link to Lou's show is in the description. Go. And you guys have a great name, by the way. Share the name of your podcast. I love the name of your podcast.
Yeah, it's We're Talking Football, short for WTF. Like, what the fuck? I'm not sure if I can say it. Yeah,
yeah, you're good.
Okay, so this is not family friendly. I can drop the F-bombs can fly.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Like what the fuck, like type of stuff. So yeah, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at WTF Pod NFL. And also, I'm a big guy, so look at me, man. I'm a big guy. So my buddy said if we get a certain amount of subscribers on our YouTube page, he's going to take me out to steak dinner where I get to order anything I want. And I'm looking forward to making that guy pay, man.
I love it, man. Dude, it's a sweet outfit. Why wouldn't I wear the same exact outfit every single show? It's like Tiger Woods going into the Sunday when he needs to win a major championship and he wears the red Nike polo. That's what I'm doing right now. It's game time when I come on here. And so, yeah, red Nike polos. That's where it's at. All right, y'all. You have a great night. Stay blessed. Lou, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
us.
man.
Peace.